Lightning weekly podcast. Awaken with Thunder and Lightning.
Reignite the light in your soul.
Talking all things mediumship, spirit,
and paranormal.
I'm Gavin.
And I'm Roger. Hello.
How's your week been, Rog?
Oh, it hasn't been too bad, you know. Don't been too bad.
Good. Mine's not been the best, but I'm still looking at it bright and colourful.
Well, it's one of them hands you've been dealt with, so you've had to deal with it best you can.
I'm sure I'll get there in the end. Yeah, Facebook and hackers, but not going to rise to their level. It'll all work its way out, but it's just taken a few hours. But other than that, it's been a fantastic week. I've been quite impressed with myself, not getting stressed. So I managed to listen to my own preachings, so to speak. I tell you what, I felt like getting annoyed. Good job they're in Vietnam.
Yeah. Napalm airways.
No, I can't fly out there. That might cause me a bit of trouble. So I'll try and find Superman. So I think he tried to spell Superman, but it's Superman. That did make me chuckle. But this week then, Roger, we thought we'd talk a little bit of
crystals.
There we go. We'll go down that path. And Roger really is a crystal man. He was just telling me earlier, his lump of moldavite he's had for 20 years. And he's got it in his drink. Some of you might wonder, what do you mean it's in the drink? So Roger, talk about elixirs.
It's I use it in water to energize the drink. If you think about the human body and we're 70% water, why can't we energize that water? Or energize at least whatever we ingest? So I've used for a while crystals to energize water. And what I tend to use is moldavite. It's quite a high energy crystal. And then with that, I use, or you could use something like Herkimer diamond, which I do. So that's a doubler.
Magnify it, wouldn't it? That would magnify it, Roger.
Yep, magnifies it twice, at least. It doubles the energy. And also with that, there's rose quartz and amethyst. Rose quartz has love properties, and amethyst, that's other higher connections as well. So, yeah. Fantastic.
Elixirs, sir.
I would recommend anybody use them. I even make my good lady Suzanne drink them as well.
That's wonderful, because basically we're made up of a large percentage of water. So if we can change the vibration in water before we drink it, then it can bring wholesome benefits towards us. So it's not just the benefit, well, crystals can be one way of doing that to water. Obviously, with Reiki, and Roger's also a Reiki master, it's understandable the energy from Reiki. There are certain symbols that can be used where you can actually increase the vibration even more so with the Reiki symbols. So, Roger, do you use the Reiki symbols on your water with the crystals? I'll put him on the spot now.
You put me on the spot, and to be honest, no, I don't. Now that you put me on the spot, I will certainly do it tomorrow. That being Friday.
Herkimer diamond magnifies the vibration. Wait till you've done it with the Reiki symbols as well.
I will certainly give that a try tomorrow, and let's see what I shall report back.
Wonderful. But no, that is one way with crystals. You can use them in water and what you drink, so it can change your vibration and age your vibration, which is very, very useful, not just for everyday living, but it can be very, very useful with development and raising the vibration, keeping the vibration high. I know crystal-wise, I use a lot of crystals when I'm working. I have quite a few on me just that I wear every day that just keep my vibration high, because crystals can aid with that. But I know when I'm working and I've got like a little bag with crystals in, that I'm actually got, although some of them are the same, 51 crystals. I know about 12 of those are Herkimer diamond. And then I've got the Synergy 12 and various others. But the power of crystals really is phenomenal. It really can aid with connections. It can aid with healings. They can aid with healing on an emotional and a physical basis. You've got some that can withdraw negative energies from within, some that can withdraw negative energies from around, and others, like we said, that can raise your vibration greatly. I know one of my favourite ones for raising vibration is moldavite that we've just mentioned with regard to Roger. And moldavite, I've got 12 that I wear on my body of moldavite. but that is probably my favourite crystal. And then you can magnify it with Herkimer Diamond, which is wonderful. What's your favourite crystal, Rog? Not the shape of it. We'll go into the shapes of them in a minute.
I would say for me, yes, Moldavite is up there. Like dynamite is Moldavite. The one which I really love working with is Preseli Bluestone. It's an energetic vibration linking to the likes of Stonehenge and Ascended Masters, especially, or ancient masters like Merlin.
Got a lot of metal in it then.
It's got feldspar and other old stones, but yeah, it also attracts dragons. It's very good for working with dragons. Is Preseli Bluestone. So Merlin, dragons, and connections to your megaliths and monoliths and your stone circles. That type of energy you can connect.
You said it's got a link to Stonehenge. Are you saying that Stonehenge stones are made of?
Some of the stones within Stonehenge are Preseli Bluestone.
They're huge then.
They're not tiny.
Would they be the top capstones by any chance?
No, I think they're the freestanding stones which are around the larger of the stones.
In which case, they're bloody huge.
Well, yeah, I'd like one of them in my front room.
Do you need to make a gap in your ceiling upstairs?
Well, that's it. Yeah, I'm all right. I've got concrete.
The plugger that's going to carry it. I think you're going to need a giant as well.
Well, I've got concrete floors, so I'll be all right. Yeah, and another stone which I love working with is blue kyanite. Wonderful energy, and I find that one in particular brings your chakra system into balance. It's not an easy stone to work with initially, dependent on the balancing issues you've got. When I first started using this, my heart chakra was in two places. And it must have taken a couple of weeks for that to actually pull back in line. And you can actually feel it doing that. And it makes you feel a little poorly.
Like the
yeah. But once it's brought everything back into balance, it's absolutely fantastic stone to work with.
I know that the Synergy 12 that I love working with, and for those developing, I wouldn't suggest everyone just rushing out and gets it. They're extremely powerful, they're life-changing, and they can raise an awful lot of issues when you start working with them. They can make you sweat. That's not the big problem. It is the realignment of all the energies. But it's trying to work through those if you're going to work with all 12 to start with. In some ways, it'd be a lot better to build them up one at a time to use them all, but that's not. I jump myself straight into the deep end, and so straight away with all of them. But some of you might be thinking, crystals, I like the idea. What on earth and how on earth am I going to choose which ones I want? Don't worry about that. I'm sure Roger will agree. When you're starting out, have a look, whether it's online or in person at a crystal shop, although I'd say online you're likely to get a better deal. But if you were doing them from a shop, at least you can pick in person what crystal you're actually going to end up with. But go with instinct. See what you're actually drawn to. Then look up the meaning. You'd be very, very, very surprised at the meanings of the crystals, the spiritual meanings and what they can do. They will link in to you perfectly. You'll look afterwards and think, now I know why I chose that. I know why I chose that. I know why I chose that. Which can also aid you on your spiritual development because you can actually trust your instincts and your intuition from what you've actually chosen. But would you agree with that? If you don't need to worry about what crystal, by like going and shopping for a particular crystal, turn up and you'll be drawn to the ones that you need.
Well, that's it. That's the best way of describing it. If you can, go to a shop if you're starting out, and you will feel instinctively drawn to a crystal or an area, a colour, and you'll go over there. What I tend to do is just put my hand over the crystals, and you can actually feel a draw to whichever area.
That's your problem though, Roger. The very first shop you went to was at Stonehenge, wasn't it? And you wanted to take one of the bloody monuments home with you.
Well, the first one I ever went to was it was one of the rock importers, a massive warehouse, and I walked in and there was a 6 foot high amethyst geode. I put my hand in that at the back of my hand, and it was like an electric shock. It was, I got a hell of a belt from that, and I thought, oh, I like this. Yes, it was a bit out of my price range. Still is.
I try not to look at the prices of some of those that are hanging up. I know I did get that first thing was like, it was really toxic, was selenite, which of course it wasn't toxic, but the energy coming from it was like something you've never known. When I first, Marie, my partner, got a box of it. They weren't that big a box. It was like opening it up and needed sunglasses. But the feeling of the energy was just like changed the whole room. I wish I could get that feeling from crystals again nowadays. I'm sure Marie would be exactly the same. But the more you get used to the higher energy crystals, you just don't quite feel it the same as you did the first time round.
Well, they've all got fantastic qualities and characteristics.
And that can be between individual crystals of the same type as well, can't it? Some people are drawn to one, while the other might think that's got no power at all.
That's right. It's whatever suits you.
Whatever rocks your boat.
Yes.
But no, we've already covered then like well-being with them in water. They can be very good for development. I'd also say they can be very good for illness. It'd be different types of crystals. And by illness, they can help reduce pain. They can also reduce negativity. But they can also work in a way that kind of is hard to believe in the mind, like trying to reduce negativity out of your life and things and reverting that energy to a positive energy. Would you agree with that, Roger?
Yes, I do. Totally.
And if I was to say pick development, illness, or the converting energies, what path should we go down first?
Any you like.
I was putting it to you, sir.
Illness, then.
I was going to say, because I'm tick-tock and tickety-boo.
Tip-top.
Beat you to it today.
Yep, you have.
So, illness. So they can absorb, can't they, as well as taking away pain?
Yes.
And I couldn't name a particular crystal because they vary on a condition.
All right, 23.
I love wearing that for development reasons.
Yeah, well, it's also, I find it's a healer stone as well.
I do a lot of healing, so that might be why I'm wearing it.
Not every stone, if you read the books, not every stone does exactly the same for every person. There's one which I use, which is a higher connection, is charoite. And for me, I get a very, very strong galactic and Atlantean connection with that stone.
In addition, the illnesses, I would say, is one where if there's a certain condition, then that'd be where you want to look up the crystals that you'd want first, because you can make a selection, or you'd speak to someone that's very knowledgeable about crystals in order to get a selection for a particular illness or problem. So that's where, don't ask me, I'd keep out of it. I would say, I can get you the answer, but I need to talk to my partner Marie. She would know. I'll be able to come up with far better knowledge on crystals. She's got qualifications in that area. I'm just one of those people that are drawn to certain crystals rather than particularly looking them up first. But with regard to illnesses, you'd want to look them up first to know what's what and what ones to combine together, which I'm sure Roger would be able to do as well.
Just going back to what I was saying about charoite, it is. I find that it's a multi-dimensional stone. For me, it works with the galactic connection, so it's working with the third eye and the crown, or the higher chakras.
It's fascinating there. And I've just got very quickly my guy John by the side of me, Roger, and I know this is changing the subject slightly. He just wants to ask you a joke, or he's telling you a joke. He's wanting you to know what's red and bad for your teeth.
Go on.
A red mallet, apparently. I don't know if they're getting worse or better.
It sounds as if they get, well, yeah. Thank you, John. I'm not going to say. I'll think it, but, excellent. Keep it up.
But what's also red and bad for your teeth?
Go on.
Red paint.
But yeah, well, it's yeah. I was thinking double Gloucester then.
I was thinking double Gloucester then. You're going to have to tell that joke then, Rog.
Oh.
So there was a man at a cheese factory. He decided to redecorate his home, didn't he?
Yeah.
But his wife got in the way.
So he
Double Gloucester. Boom, boom.
boom, boom.
But anyway, back to crystals. So, yeah, illness-wise, you can use them for absorbing energies and also for trying to raise the positive energy in order to aid the healing. But obviously, it always comes with belief. You manifest with law of attraction. The energies you put out, the energies you get back. So you have got to believe within it all. But I know from experience, my father did end up with pain relief from the crystals. He did lose the crystals at one point, which was probably, if you do lose crystals, you never need to worry about it. If you lose crystals, there will be a reason. If a crystal breaks, there will be a reason, and not always the dog. Or the cat. Yeah. But no, typically, if you do lose them, he did come back and got more because that was when he felt the pain really increasing again. Bless him, he's not with us now, but he really did then believe in the crystals. So they did work. So I guess that's well-being and illness that they can be used for. Roger, how long have you been working with crystals? You said you had your Moldavite 20 years. It's not the kind of first crystal you go out and buy.
No, I just got drawn to it.
How long before that were you drawn to crystals? Honestly, Roger isn't that old. So whatever age he comes in, it might mean that he was first drawn to crystals when he was a child.
I suppose I've always had crystals of some sort and picking pebbles up and collecting stones of various types wherever I've been. But I really started about 20, 25 years ago.
So it would have been around the time you had the Moldavite?
Yes.
So technically that Moldavite could have been the converter?
Yes. Moldavite along with blue kyanite and chevron amethyst were the first pieces I ever bought.
Amethyst Moldavite would have been one of the first two that I pretty much worked with. I carried a crystal ball around for ages. It looked like I won't go into that when it was in my pocket, but development-wise, I did walk around with a crystal ball and it made me look like I was lopsided.
Yeah, and quite early on I bought some selenite as well. So that's a nice good cleansing stone. It clears negativity.
Very much. And it can recharge other crystals.
Oh yes. Oh yes, it
does. Aura, it can aid with healing, it can aid with balance.
Well, so does amethyst.
I did not realise until this week, I think it was within the last 7 days, that selenite used to make old glass.
That makes sense because the rarest form of selenite is clear.
Selenite that isn't clear is actually not selenite. That is interesting because the selenite that isn't clear isn't actually selenite. It is satin spar.
Yeah.
But it's sold under the name selenite. True selenite is see-through. It is like glass in layers. I didn't know that till this week, thanks to my partner Maureen.
I've got a couple of clear charging plates.
Oh, you would have. Anytime I mention any crystal, Roger's got it. He's like a walk-in shop, except you're not allowed to buy anything.
That's not true. That's not true.
Before we go on to development, Roger, you've got crystals in different shapes. Do you believe shapes of crystals give them more energy or power, or just because of a shape it can give more connection? What's your view?
That's an interesting notion. Yes. Right. I'll just take it back a couple of steps. I have various pieces in my collection. Some are natural shaped, so it's just as it's come out of the ground. or
So
wherever.
you mean raw and natural?
Yeah, I mean
or
raw.
polished or finished in some way?
I've got other pieces which are tumbled.
Making them
So
smooth.
it's been put in a machine to get a nice tumble. And then I've got other pieces which are carved.
Which is your
Now,
favourite on that sort of shapes? Mine I'm naturally drawn towards raw, if you couldn't tell.
at one time I was drawn to raw, but I would say over the last 2 or 3 years I've been drawn more so to carved.
Well, carved, because they're carved, I've seen some of your carved. Carved could actually still be classed as raw with the amount of points that some of your carved have on it.
Yes.
Which we'll explain in a minute.
Some of the crystals are carved into skulls.
Lovely.
And others are carved into dragons, and they're both symbolic of different types of energy, which is one thing which I connect with. Crystal skull energy plus dragon energy as well.
Anyone that knows Roger, I would say he's completely missed something out here, hasn't he? He's forgetting to mention his spheres, and he's forgetting to mention his Merlins.
Well, I'd only just started. Yes, I've got.
He has got the most huge Merlin. It's just so big. It stands up.
It's a fantastic connection. He's Merlin. He's yellow calcite.
Gorgeous.
About 18-inch high.
What's the benefit of calcites? Because they're very good crystals, aren't they? But they're cheaper than most. So if you are starting out, I will let him come back to Merlin. But if you are starting out, you might want to look at calcites. They're a lot cheaper priced than most other crystals, and they are just as powerful. Just look into them first, so you can save yourself quite a bit of money to get the same properties from other crystals. But that's just on the buy that I'm saying that. So back to you and Merlin.
Yeah, it's quite a powerful connection with Merlin. It actually connects with Merlin himself and his teachings. There's also a galactic connection there with it as well. Plus, with it being yellow calcite, he has the benefits of that particular crystal.
What do you mean being galactic?
I just mean that it is an extremely high energetic connection.
So to higher energies. But I believe you've actually adapted your Merlin to be like that on purpose by adding other crystals to it.
Yes, I've added a unakite skull. When he first arrived, he was carrying a amethyst sphere, and I thought, no, it needs something else. It needs something to give it a bit more of a lift, and unakite sprang to mind.
And your Merlin has got a big wand, doesn't he? I like to try Roger from time to time.
Yes, he's actually thrown me at that particular point because I wasn't thinking wand, I was thinking more staff.
Well, yeah, okay, it's even bigger than a wand.
Oh, there you go. I don't carry Merlin round with me all the time because he's quite heavy, but I have a smaller version which tends to go on holiday with me everywhere.
Carry him around. You couldn't carry him around. He's about the size of your leg.
Well, I usually take between 20-25 skulls and other crystals with me on holiday. I usually have a backpack full.
Have you ever been stopped at customs?
Well, I think they'd be looking at me thinking, sacre bleu.
But they must have been working. Feeling the positive energy.
Certainly have a look at calcites. They're a wonderful energy to work with. All I would say is just be aware that different stones have different hardnesses. If you're wanting to buy them in tumble forms, just be careful as to what you put together.
Something very important we missed. We were talking about elixirs. Some crystals you don't want to be elixirs.
Yes.
You don't want to be licking and tasting certain crystals. You don't want to put them in water. You need to make sure they're not water soluble. You need to make sure they're not poisonous. Don't just drop any crystal into water, do you, Roger?
No, that's very true. You don't want to be dropping sulfur into water.
You don't want to be lifting sulfur either, Roger.
Well, that's a different story, isn't it?
It is.
Selenite is one which you want to avoid contact with water, because selenite is a form of gypsum, which is water soluble.
So that really would be all calcites, wouldn't it, Roger? You don't want any calcites in water.
Not really, no.
No, not really, just no.
No.
But actually, I did find something else interesting in the last 7 days about calcites. You know when they're all shiny, Roger?
Yes.
Did you know they've been acid treated? Well, I imagine you did know that. I might have caught him out on this one.
Right,
calcites,
okay.
They've been acid treated.
That makes a lot of sense because they're quite a soft stone.
But you mean it makes a lot of sense? I mean, you've learned something new.
Yes.
Yes! One up on Roger! Now, honestly, Roger does know an awful lot about crystals. For me to know something in addition to what that was just like phenomenal for me to have known something that he didn't know. Not on crystals. He did a crystal quiz this week when we were going through one. He knew pretty much it. He knew every answer. It wasn't a simple quiz. So it does make a lot of sense to you then.
Yes, it does, because as I say, calcites are quite soft stone. Yes, it can get stressed and it can fracture or shatter. Treated with acid does make a lot of sense, actually.
I know one thing we've not covered. Development. Have you used crystals to aid development? If so, have you used them by carrying them around? Have you used them for meditations? I know there's probably a difference between meditation and development actually here. There's probably two different subjects. So actually we'll come back to the meditation one. I even claim that now that there's two different subjects here. But development-wise, developing.
Yes.
What would you say to anyone developing? Because most people, if they've not heard of crystals being powerful, what would you say?
I would start off with something like
amethyst.
Well, an amethyst. Carry them in your pockets. Or if you're doing a meditation, hold them in your hand. And then see if that elevates your meditation.
If it does help you to know, all of you, if you're after the energy coming in through a crystal, I would hold it in your left hand. That is your energy coming in. If you're trying to boost some energy and magnify it, then I would have the crystal quartz, for instance. I'd put the amethyst in my left hand. I'd have the crystal quartz in my right hand because it's going to magnify it, or Hercules diamond. And then put your hands sort of close together so you're putting the energy out of your right hand to the left hand. It's going to bring the energy in towards you. But I know this isn't a educational as such. It's just a simple chat. But if you wanted to pick up anything from this chat, that's one thing that I'd say pick up from it.
Yes, I carry quite a few stones, not as many as you.
Some of mine are the same. If you saw his house, which I've not, it's more like a bloody museum, I reckon. His wife must trip over them.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've picked up in a reading or a message and gone, so Roger, have you just ordered a couple more crystals? No, I haven't. Because he's Suzanne's by the side of him. Roger, have you got a free one with that? Yes.
Don't tell her there's a delivery tomorrow. Shh.
Hopefully she's out. Is it in person or through the Royal Mail?
It'll be through Royal Mail. So I don't know. I'll smuggle it in through Sandown.
Okay, it's not too big then. It's not like another Merlin side.
It's 12, 14 in there. It could be about 12 so inches high, the big piece, what's coming in.
Oh, I thought you were going to say feet.
No, it's a Dragon Guardian skull. You know,
what
big
don't worry me, not because I'm not your wife, but you said what's coming tomorrow. That means you've got even more on order.
I have one or two which I'm putting feelers out there for.
No, not feelers out. There are a few more on the way, is what I'm picking up. And then you're putting some feelers out there for some others.
There you go. Would
that be correct, Roger? Good job, Suzanne's in bed.
Are you psychic? Oh, of course. yes, that's very true.
You'd have a few in your pocket, which is like me. I have a few that I work with, which is, they used to mean that I was open and opening up for work. I don't need them in my pocket anymore, but they can kind of sustain energy. I carry some in my bag that if I'm feeling drained, I can put it into my hands before I'm actually drained and recharge me. But I'm like a Duracell bunny anyway.
Yeah.
They really can help you with high connections, but they can also develop you in your energy, but not just in one energy. It can sort of widen your energy. It can help you in a lot of ways.
One of the stones I've carried since I first started was a pair of Boji stones. They're like shaman stones.
Okay, I like my shaman stones. Well, I've got a couple of them.
There's a male and female aspect to them.
Okay.
They
look gorgeous.
What I've used them for well over 20 years now. It helps me discern when I'm talking to people, especially at work, where I don't think somebody's telling the truth. For me, it's like an indication, or through vibration or whatever, they'll actually tell me if somebody's telling the truth or not.
So you're meeting those less and less now, the more you're developing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Some other week we'll have to talk about divination.
Yeah, I mean, another stone I always carry, selenite. Always carry selenite.
I recently started carrying that. I always have a piece in my bag to cleanse energies, but I only recently started carrying it.
If you walk into any negativity or whatnot, it just bounces off.
Development wise, you can't go wrong. If it's the purpose of development that you're going looking for crystals, you will be drawn again to the right one. You will be. You got to trust. And that's the basis of development anyway. You've got to trust. You've got to trust you will be drawn to the right one. And you will be. Look up the meanings afterwards and you'll see exactly why you were drawn to it. You can't go wrong.
That's very true. And that's the way to do it. If you feel drawn to chase the light or charoite or amber, you go for those crystals.
I know we mentioned development, which is kind of still talking development because we never ever stop development. Some would say that I was developed. I'm developed to a point, but I can keep developing. I always will be able to. As long as I believe that and I'm increasing my vibration all of the time. If energy doesn't end, then energy doesn't end in the spirit world either. It keeps rising. It can rise to an infinite level. So we should be able to keep connecting as far as we can to an infinite level, like keep letting it rise. Crystal-wise, bringing that into the equation would be meditation. Meditating on crystals. Now, I don't do a lot of meditating on crystals, I'll be honest. Yes, if I meditate, my meditations, no, I work so often, I get into a meditative state by clicking my fingers. Okay, I will channel and drop into a meditative state. You've seen me channel and I can pretty much connect to energies as I want to. But meditating, I know you meditate on crystals like my partner does. The benefit of meditating on crystals, which I would give to anyone, everyone is different. So I might not meditate on them. I might go for a walk in the countryside or nature or something like that. But I will have crystals with me. Roger will meditate specifically on a particular crystal, like I said, like my partner would. What's the benefit of that, Rog?
You get a direct connection with the crystal itself, the information and knowledge it wishes to impart and share with you.
I would have to change what I'd said, because one crystal I have meditated on, the Miriam quartz.
The Miriam quartz, yeah.
And that's what I have meditated on, and then I realised mine was a dud from Amazon, because mine went sideways instead of up and down.
There's Atlantean record keepers, there's Lemurian record keepers. I suppose it's like having access to the Akashic records. There's ancient knowledge which you can tap into. I have a elongated charoite skull, which is a purplish swirl stone itself, purple. And what I tend to do is I'll hold the skull so it's facing away from me. So I will cradle the side of the head, but I put my index fingers in the eye sockets.
That is not alive.
And that is one way of actually getting a connection with the stone. Just to tell you, when I worked with that, I got taken to Atlantis, and I saw this crystal skull conclave. Plus, I was then taken to a planet of origin for the Atlanteans.
So I'm borrowing your skull at the minute from distance. It's making me very, very hot. as I am seeing a connection to higher above Atlanteans. See, they worked a lot with skulls themselves, didn't they?
Yes, yes, they did.
Does it make you hot when you meditate with it?
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't got it from distance. I'm seriously hot. Sorry, I just borrowed your crystal there for a minute, Rog.
It's a serious, and I know you have, because I can feel it back of my head and my ears.
Flipping heck, that was a powerful crystal. I might have to get a crystal skull from now. Oh, I know I've got another question though, which is trying to kind of change the subject with regard to the Akashic records. That's one thing I've not really been able to connect well to. I've managed to connect well to higher records that are more of an ascended master level. Those have got records as well, I believe, of history, not just of the Earth, but more of a galactic nature. Had no problem at all connecting with those. And very recently as well, well, not that long ago anyway, I managed to connect through to a record that I would have said gone through Egypt and the pyramids. But the Akashic records, whenever I've gone to get anything from the Akashic records, they left me bloody stood outside and bring the record to me. Do you actually go inside to the Akashic records, Roger?
I've been in the hall, yes.
Oh, they'll just lead me straight to a desk or put me back outside and bring the information to me. I can't go and find it myself like most people can. I can only do that from higher energies.
I've actually been in the hall of records, and I've sat with the Lord of Time.
God,
And
then
then
a lot of time, but not sat with him like in the Hall of Records.
right, okay, and then he's handed me something to scry with or to work with.
I know I will say some people may struggle connecting with the Akashic records. If you do, you've tried it a few times, try and connect to the Ascended Master records or anything that's slightly higher, more of a galactic record, might be what you'd be able to call it, if I'm going with technical terms. But the reason I wasn't going straight to galactic, some people might go, well, what on earth is that? Is that outer space, etc.? It doesn't have to be outer space. It can be, it's just higher energy. If you want to see it that way, it's higher energy. Connect to the higher energy, galactic record, and you might find that you're very successful. Roger's brought me his skull. He's got it in front of me.
Yeah, it's a wonderful purple stone, and it's got an elongated cranium. So yes, that has got a fantastic higher energy to it.
What would you say would give it that higher energy? Is it purely the carving, or would you have had that energy out of it in its natural form?
I think it's partly the carving, and it's partly the quality of the crystal itself.
So if you were using it just for a plain connection and raising vibration, it doesn't matter whether it's carved. The carving itself, if I've understood you correctly, would connect you to a particular energy in relation to the carving?
That actually connects, I find, that connects to the first wave Atlanteans.
I would agree with you that, because I literally was dragged underwater to start with, then I was taken up. It's like down, up, high.
There is one theory that the original Atlanteans, who, when they came to Earth, had an elongated cranium.
I believe that. I do think they did.
So again, I bought this online. Spirit was talking to me for 2 or 3 nights, shouting at me about this, and I thought, well, I'm gonna have to buy it. So I thought, well, I don't know why they want me to buy it, but I'll do what they say. I followed that, and then it's just enhanced my connections with galactic and Atlantean energies. So fantastic. Thank you, Spirit.
Talking about the thank you, Spirit, I did happen to see a bit of an online auction last weekend. Is that the crystals that are arriving tomorrow?
Some
of them. So others from Stonehenge.
There are other things which have from before that.
From Stonehenge.
There's a nice chunk of orbicular jasper. That's it. I know it's red, but that is an orbicular jasper red skull, which is quite unusual.
Is it in the shape of a dragon?
Yeah, it's carved into a dragon head. You don't normally see orbicular jasper in such a brilliant red.
That's gorgeous.
Working with skull energies is my particular interest. For me, it connects with the Crystal Skull Conclave, who was created or brought in around the time of the Atlanteans first coming onto the planet, just to tap into universal knowledge and energy.
That's lovely.
Supposedly, a certain number still in existence today.
Do you know where?
I believe that there's one up in the Arctic Ocean somewhere. There's another one in South America, another one in Egypt. They're just dotted all over the world in locations just to try and save and protect.
Those are tremendous vibrations in those areas, I would guess, would why they were there in the first instance.
Yes, and to keep hold of the knowledge so it can be imparted at a later date.
One of my guides always comes through each week. We've had 3 weeks now of John, Jane, Dexter, so I think we're back round to John. So I don't know what he's going to talk about this week, but I will start to bring him through. Hello, everyone. It is John. Hello, Roger. It is nice to see you again on Thunder and Lightening. It is a lovely talk you have done on the crystals tonight. Very lovely. It's a shame the cameras are not on so they could see your big one. Your big skull.
Yes.
To explain as no one has camera on, they will wonder what I was talking about. But anyway, this week, I will mention very briefly, crystals on their own, without a mindset, will be useless. If you categorically do not believe in them, they will not do anything for you. You need to be believing in them or allowing yourself to tune into the energies. You'd agree with this, Roger, wouldn't you?
Yes, I certainly would.
Good. I'm glad you did not argue with me. Me and you could have fallen out.
Oh, we don't want that, John.
But also, this week, separate from crystals, you may have found that your energy has felt a little, as you would put it, weird. You should find that your energy is coming back as stronger. Lots of people will try to throw you off of the path and try and talk and sound all knowledgeable to do with the Lion's Gate. Forget that. Just to know that the energies are positive and coming in your way. You can tune into these positive energies, but to do so, you need to keep your thoughts positive and your words positive. See, they may be positive energies, meaning you can manifest more. But if you are in any doubt and your words are focusing on fear and problems from the past, and your thoughts inside are focusing on fear and things from the past, you will manifest them 10 times more quickly. So if you want the 10 times effect to work in your favor, make sure your thoughts and your words are aligned together and in a positive nature. You see, if you focus on the past and what went wrong in the past, you will manifest it the same again, but with someone new or with something new. So focus on your true desires, what you want, and believe it's coming. Have hope and faith. 3 words I have got the medium to understand very well when he talks about the development is a belief, faith, and the intention. What are the 3 words, Roger?
Belief, faith, and intention.
He was listening to me. I tried to confuse him with them in a different order. Intention, faith, belief. Have an intention of what you want. Have faith it is coming. And really believe it is coming. Here are my 3 words for you this week. Remember, intention, have it. Faith, make sure you have it. A belief, really have it. And you can have anything you want. So I will say good night to you all. Have a lovely week. So good night, everyone. Good night, Roger.
Good night, John. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, my friend, and you're all more than welcome at home. Lots of love.
Bye.
So that's me back now. I don't know exactly what John said, but I hope it makes sense to you all. The only thing that he's come back with and given to me is intention, faith, and belief, which me and myself would say they're 3 strong words and 3 strong things to believe in. So I do hope that's helped you all. Was he all right, Roger?
Yes, I certainly would. I agree with everything what John has said. And what I would also do is when you go out and purchase your crystals, make sure that you cleanse them and charge them up. And if need be, work with the crystals in your hands and put some intention in as to what you wish to work with that particular stone.
I will say, to do with the cleansing of the crystals, there's a few different ways. One could be selenite, which we've already mentioned. 2 could be moonlight, but if you do moonlight and lots of people don't tell you, then make sure it's out for 24 hours. Let it out for the full 24 hour. The moonlight and the sunlight. Doesn't matter which one's first, but make sure it's out the full 24 hours. That will charge it and cleanse it. Water can wash it and cleanse it clear. Likewise, you could sage it. Or if you're good with energy and you believe in yourself, you can use yourself to cleanse it and charge it.
You can also use sound. If you use
make sure you know where you buried it if you do that on the beach.
Just make sure that if you are going to wash your stones, make sure that they're not water soluble.
Yeah, and make sure you don't wash them in acid.
Yeah,
I'll be very impressed if you can get hold of the acid in the first instance.
Yes.
That is a little bit from us on crystals. So I know we've gone through it very fast and tried to cover an awful lot in it, but I hope it's all been interesting for you all. And we will very shortly be coming up with a paranormal topic for you, and we will get you that interview with Forrest, with the author of Haunted Around America.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. Look forward to that.
So that hopefully will be the week after.
Champion.
So I've enjoyed talking this evening with you, Roger, and talking about crystals. So I would say good night from me.
And it's a good night from him.
Lots of love to you all. Take care.
Ta-ra. Bye.